Hi, I'm Spencer Camp, and I want to start off my presentation by asking, can legal abortion benefit children? This is something we're going to think about throughout the whole presentation. Okay, so to begin, I realized that after looking at our surveys, many people were pro-choice, so I didn't think that it would be wise to argue to be pro-choice, as many people already were. Rather, I wanted to take a deeper look at how these children are specifically affected and maybe provide a new perspective on the abortion debate in relation to children. So, children in the abortion debate tend to be overlooked compared to the attention their mother receives. I know many people, including myself, who decided to be pro-choice on the basis of women's rights. We believed the mother held more rights over the unborn child. And I think many people choose to be pro-choice because they want to support the women. But what's interesting is that having legal abortion may actually further benefit the children than illegal abortion. So I want to ask, is anyone pro-choice because they think legal abortion is better for the child? Many people only consider the mother. But is it better for the child? Legal abortion not only protects the mother's rights, but can also surprisingly protect children's lives. I want to give a little content warning because there may be some sensitive content in my presentation. My main points are focusing on the horrors of foster care, so how children in foster care are treated and how adoptive parents treat their adopted children. We're going to cover suicide, the risk of suicide attempts in adopted and non-adopted children and their comparison. And then also women who are denied abortions, and how the children can be negatively affected by biological mothers' unwanted pregnancies. So first point, we're going to cover foster care and adoption. Sadly, some people adopt children to use for their own personal benefit. There are numerous horror stories of people being adopted by guardians that are unfit to parent a child, and the child is often abused in those situations, unfortunately. Also, some foster care programs do not truly care about the needs of the child. The children in foster care programs can feel neglected, often aren't fed very properly, are in poor living conditions. It's not a good place for children to really grow up in. And then if pro-life supporters aim to protect the life of the child, then making abortion completely illegal does not always do this. And I'll provide you with some examples. So here are some personal stories that are a little intense, but they are true. We'll start off with Melissa. She quotes, "I spent 5 years with a lady who blew the monthly stipend from DCFS on her own kids while we lowly fosters got to eat maybe once a day if we were lucky. But she was very generous with the beatings, which often bordered on torture. Making us kneel for hours on uncooked rice seemed to be her favorite." James. "Once when staying with a racist foster father who saw him hanging out with a black friend, he beat James, drug him outside, clasped a dog collar around his neck, and cuffed his hand to a Confederate flag rail in front of the doghouse." And lastly, we have Michael. He started off in a roach-infested foster home in the housing projects of Queens, New York City. When he complained about the conditions to his social worker, Michael was removed and placed into a new home with an abusive alcoholic foster mother. So you can see that foster care programs, for one, aren't taking into consideration who is going to be the guardian of these children. Now we're going to get into the suicide rate. So not only are children affected by bad guardians, also children in homes with good parents can receive numerous mental effects. So children that get adopted are not always better off either. Surprisingly, the suicide rate for adopted children is 4 times greater than foster kids who were never adopted. And adopted children develop extreme mental conflicts, which then lead them to suicide. So the American Academy of Pediatrics study proves this fact. She provides quotes such as, "Although the majority of adopted individuals are well-adjusted, adolescent adoptees experience a greater risk for disruptive behavior disorders and to a lesser extent internalizing disorders than comparably aged non-adopted individuals. And in young adulthood, adoptees have increased odds of being diagnosed with substance use and other psychiatric disorders relative to non-adoptees." So even when these children are being placed in good homes, They may have a past of being in bad homes or in bad foster care programs that affect them as adults and cause some of them to end their lives. So rather than having an abortion in the first place, unfortunately, these children grew up in horrible conditions, had horrible lives, and oftentimes ended their lives themselves. So also I want to mention, I know foster care programs and adoption may seem irrelevant to abortion and abortion rights, but it proves how unwanted children are affected. And I go back to the idea of, if we are to protect the children by making abortion illegal, we may not be doing that after all. Lastly, we have how carried out unwanted pregnancies negatively affect the child. Many mothers who are denied abortion tend to resent or neglect their child. Children born out of unwanted pregnancies are often not supported in any means, including food. Sometimes when a mother who already has children has to carry out an unwanted pregnancy, she does not have the resources to support them all, and they starve. Some evidence behind that includes quotes from an article or a study that says the research is clear. Restricting access to abortion doesn't just harm women, it harms their children as well. More than 90% of women who seek abortion but are denied it choose to keep and raise the child rather than place it up for adoption. But that does not mean that the child is in any better conditions. Of those children, many were more likely to live in households where there wasn't enough money to pay for basic living expenses. Also, unwanted pregnancies often lead to women feeling trapped as a mother, resenting their baby, or longing for the old days before they had the baby. So these children that are being born from unwanted pregnancies may inherently affect the children that have already been born. If there's not enough resources in the household to support all of the children, they can often starve, they are neglected, and can be seen as a burden to the mother who didn't want them in the first place, which can again lead to the mental side effects and the suicide rates that follow with all of the negative upbringing that these children experience. So, concluding points, I do not aim to persuade people to be pro-choice, nor do I aim to make pro-life supporters look bad. However, if the ultimate goal in regards to abortion is meant to protect the child/children, then restricted illegal abortion may be less beneficial than some believe. So I challenge y'all to just look at abortion in a different perspective and really think about the needs of these children in their lives in regards to this debate. Thank you.